Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to the Brownstone. I'm Paulette, and you are in the Brownstone Worldwide Virtual Studios. Today on Brownstone's Best Business Review, we're going to be talking to none other than Aisha Taylor Issa of the Sistah Shop. Now, for those of you all who are not familiar with Aisha, we're going to be talking to her today and about the amazing feat of creating a place for Black women and their products and their wares right here in the ATL, and of course around the globe through her virtual storefront. We're going to be talking to her today and learning about how she did it and all of the things in between that make the greatness that is the Sistah Shop exactly what it is. So without further ado, we're going to be bringing up Miss Aisha to the virtual stage here in Brownstone Worldwide Studios. Come on up here, ma'am, and let's get to talking all about the Sistah Shop. Welcome, and thank you for taking time out of your very busy schedule to talk to us. How have you been, ma'am?
Oh, thank you so much, Dr. Paulette. I'm very appreciative for the opportunity to chat with you. And I'm doing well. Thank you. I'm doing well. I hope you are also.
I'm excited to be here. I'm just glad and calm now so that we can get into the tea of what you have been up to. So let's talk about the Sistah Shop. Let's begin there because I remember a couple of years ago when I first started seeing you talk about it. So you're not new to this, right? You're not new to this world of creating a space for Black women to share what they have with the world. I would love to know, let's begin at the beginning. How did this start?
Yeah, sure. So you're absolutely right. We're not new to this. In fact, we've been doing this work for 8 years. This is our 8th year
Oh, wow.
in business. This brand started in 2017.
Okay.
Under the umbrella of what's called the Sisters in Business Expo.
I see.
We began as a platform to create opportunities for Black women entrepreneurs to showcase their products and services while also gaining valuable resources and information. The first leg of that brand included our trade shows that went along the East Coast from New Jersey all the way down to Atlanta,
Wow.
where we host expos for entrepreneur women of color, and we bring together speakers, panelists, experts, and an incredible audience, all committed to uplifting, supporting, and growing the space of Black women entrepreneurs. And so that's how it really started. We had our first tour in 2018. We toured 4 cities, Newark, New Jersey, Philadelphia, Columbia, South Carolina, Atlanta, Georgia. And then we ran it back the next year, 2019, but went to all larger venues. Then we all know what happened in 2020.
Oh, yes.
2020 was the year that shall not be named, but we, actually before 2020, I should add, in 2019, we added the second component to our brand, which is the Sisters in Business University. And so that's the teaching and training arm of the brand, because we immediately heard from our audience that, oh, we love these events, but we need more. We need more support. We need more, tools. We need more resources. We need more community. And so that part launched in 2019. And I think it really was foresight for what was to come, because it was that part that allowed us to continue serving our audience even when we could not have our live events in 2020. And so when 2021 came around and the pandemic was still lingering and we were still not really sure when we would be able to return to live events, we delved into the world of retail. At the time, I was in New Jersey, New York area, and New Jersey and New York was nothing like Atlanta. We shut down. We were not outside. It was very, very strict. What I heard and saw, the ATL was outside. It was like, wow, but New York and New Jersey was not like that. And so, around January of 2021, one of the first things to open back up was the malls, the shopping.
Yeah.
And I remember one day, just wanting to get out of the house, and went to the mall, went to one of the local malls with my son, who was
Mhm.
an infant at the time. And just so we could walk around the mall, had him in the stroller, covered up, masked up, all of that. And I remember walking into the mall and being blown away because there were so many people in the mall.
Wow.
And it was the first time that I had seen that many people in one space, because of the pandemic. And
Mhm.
it was like a light bulb went off, because everybody was going there because it was really one of the only things that were open. Um,
Mhm.
and so, I had been praying and asking God for direction in terms of what we should do next, how we could continue to serve our audience, even though we couldn't have these events that we had
Right.
become so known and loved for.
Mhm.
And he birthed the Sistah Shop. And
Mhm.
so, reached out to a few of the local malls. At that time, of course, everyone was, pro Black business, pro small business, and wanting
Yeah.
to have us in their spaces because they had a
Mhm.
lot of vacant spaces. And so it was
Mhm.
an ideal time to get into retail.
Yeah.
And so that's how the Sistah Shop was birthed. So we opened our first location in April of 2021 in Elizabeth, New Jersey, at the Jersey Gardens Mall, which is one of the largest
Nice.
shopping malls in New Jersey.
Mhm.
And a year later, we opened our second location here in Atlanta at Atlantic Station. We
Wow.
are both a retail and e-commerce destination.
Okay. Okay.
We have at one point have featured up to 150 Black women-owned brands. We are transitioning, which I'm sure we'll talk about in a little bit, to being fully e-commerce in a few weeks. But
Mhm.
it has been an incredible just experience seeing what God has done with this part of our
Yes.
brand, and all the incredible things we've been able to accomplish. So we're excited and we're grateful.
And I love how you were very, very clear. And this is what I love about Brownstone's Best, is hearing how your faith has upheld you throughout this entire experience, and asking for the guidance, asking for the next steps. And so what I would love to do, if you don't mind, is I would love to just talk about that just for a little bit, because I think as business owners, a lot of us are taught in business schools and in our business circles that we're supposed to focus on the business, and we're supposed to focus on just this one piece here. Let's do the analytics. Let's look at the data. Let's look at our numbers, all of that. And yes, we absolutely should. But there's this component that I continue to keep hearing from each one of you all who comes and sits in this virtual chair, that I talked to God first. I wanted to hear what he had to say. And in that, knowing that the gift that you were given to be the conduit for this to become what it has become, when did you know that it was meant for you to do, number one, what you've done? Did it wake you up at night? Did you hear anything? Was it clear in your mind? Was it a verbal word? Was it an unction? What did you experience in that time frame?
Sure. Well, I think it's important to kind of preface this part of the conversation by sharing with those who may not know that I am an ordained minister of the gospel of Jesus Christ. I've been preaching for
Ooh,
over 20 years.
come on then.
It was before I was an entrepreneur, I had a calling to ministry. So
Yes.
there's no separation for me between, hearing God's voice or my faith and entrepreneurship. The
Yeah.
two are intertwined. Um, I knew that it was that God was leading me to do this work because I didn't want to do it. Right. So
Mm.
initially, when I first got this unction to create this brand in 2017, I already had a business. My sister and I ran a successful career consulting firm for, oh, wow, I think over 10 years, 10 to
Mm.
15 years. I can't remember right now, but it was called Tailor Made Career Consulting. My OGs knew me as Tailor Made. I was called Tailor Made for years because Taylor is my maiden name. And so we were running that brand, and really had no desire to start something else.
Yes.
And I was working in ministry and doing that business and just kind of living my best young life. And God would not leave me alone about this idea.
Mm.
And so it would just keep coming up. It would keep
Yes.
bothering me.
Right, right,
And I
right.
was just like, really, God, I'm not trying to start another business. But I've always had this innate desire to pull the best out of people.
Yes.
So that has shown up, in my work in ministry. At the time, I was a youth and young adult pastor. in my work, as a public servant. I used to work in city government, and I've always just been able to see things in people and pull it out of them. And the same was true for businesses and entrepreneurs. I've always been able to see things in people and push them and encourage them to pursue them with excellence and to succeed. And so I just had this really, really strong pull to my sisters, to Black women entrepreneurs. And I would meet sisters everywhere who had a side hustle or who had a great talent or who had a craft. I was like, okay, how you making money doing this? You know what I mean? And it just wouldn't leave me alone. And then around that same time is when American Express came out with this groundbreaking report based on research that they had done, which was that Black women were the largest and fastest growing demographic of entrepreneurs in the country, but the least funded, least supported. Right? We hear that all the time now, but in 2017 was when it first kind of came out, and everybody was talking about it. And I'm like, okay, great, but what are we going to do about that?
Exactly.
Right? And so that is really how this was birthed. It didn't sit well with me that people just kept saying, yeah, we're starting a whole lot of businesses, but those businesses are not making any money.
Right.
And so that is how it happened. And that is how I knew it was God, because he literally would not leave me alone. And ultimately, I was getting married that year. And so I came to a compromise with God. I said, okay, after I get through this wedding, I will look into this. I will look into it. Right. And so I did just that. Our wedding was in May of that year. And then I started doing my research, really got out in the community, started going to a lot of events, talking to a lot of sisters, really seeing if this is something that folks would be interested in.
Yes.
And then in October of 2017, went and, registered the business and all that, put our first down payment on our first venue for an event. And then we announced the brand. We announced the brand October 21st of 2017. And then we held our first tour in 2018, beginning in April.
Wow. And to hear this, it's like God wouldn't leave me alone. He wouldn't leave me alone. And first of all, just that is inspiration in and of itself, especially for one of the things about Brownstone's Best Business Review that I need to be clear about is I ask these questions because I want other business owners to know that there is no right or wrong way to do it. And you have to hear other people's stories to understand that every road is not perfect. And every road is not paved in gold, but there are those little breadcrumbs sometimes that come along, and your faith that becomes a big part of everything that you're talking about. And to hear also that you are an ordained minister, ma'am, you already know, listen, that you hear all of the time. And it's like, okay, God, all right, okay. And this is amazing to hear that you've taken the time to really be obedient to the calling, because everybody believes, and I'm gonna go ahead and we're gonna get back into the business side, that ministry is in the pulpit. And what I'm hearing you say is that you were called to go into the streets to bring the women together so that they could be featured, so they could be showcased, so they could get the education that they need. And that is so very important. And I remember that American Express report that came out. And so you decided that you were going to come up with this idea, or really it was given to you. Okay, now this is what you need to do now. Now walk this out. This is how you're going to do this. And you decided to take this on the road. You a bad girl. Because listen, I don't know.
Bad or crazy, whichever you want to call it. But that was the way that he gave me the vision. The instructions were clear. It was clear that it was supposed to be a multi-city event.
Yes.
I was like, really, God? Like, really? So I was just doing as I was led and instructed. Yeah. Looking back, of course, it was crazy. But it worked. We did it. We did the damn thing. We our team, my team, which was my family primarily initially, was so selfless and supportive. I would never have been able to do that without them. Traveling, I always say they came on their own dime and their own time, because I could not pay anybody. I was just starting out. And I'll never forget, like the night before the first expo, you know, some of my cousins was like, all right, we'll see you in the morning. I was like, what? Like they live in Georgia and this was in New Jersey.
Aww.
And so they just showed up for me in such an amazing way. And I will always be eternally grateful. And they still do to this day.
I love that. And so I want to, of course, now I'm thinking back to when I was first introduced to you, and it was because your show was on the road, right? Literally, that's how I learned about you. And then I know that we have some of the same connections through a business organization that we are a part of, Traffic Sales and Profit Mastermind. And shout out to Lamar Tyler and Ronnie for everything that they're doing for the community. But you chose Black women, and you chose this underserved community. Was there any backlash from anyone in the Black community, from anyone, number one? And did you receive any backlash from others who said, maybe, why just Black women? I want to put my stuff, or I want to be a part of your tour. I want to set up a table. How did you address that? Look at your face. All right.
So I'll say this, you know, it was a different time.
Yeah.
Right. 2017 was very different than 2025.
Okay.
So the backlash was minimal, to be very honest.
Oh.
Because again, especially when we got to 2020, everybody was all, you know, riding the support Black people train, you know, after George Floyd and all that. But even back in 2017, I really didn't get a whole lot of backlash. You know, we initially, and it's still technically in our kind of tagline, we initially used a more inclusive terminology of women of color. Right. And that was because I was, you know, told very early on that for certain types of funding that we wanted, we should use more inclusive language.
Yes.
So I was like, okay, you know, I'm fine with that, but I know who I'm talking about. Right. And we know, we as our community know who we're talking about. And so the backlash was minimal. You know, we got a few, we got more so questions, you know, or people who were like, well, do I fit in, you know, with the women of color or whatever the category? You know, it was minimal. I forgot to mention, we also in 2019 incorporated our nonprofit entity. So we also have a nonprofit entity called the Sistahs in Business Foundation.
Love
our giving and our grants and stuff like that.
Okay.
But yeah, it was minimal, but I will tell you that since that time, the backlash has grown, right? You know, so especially now in this climate that we're in, with this, you know, anti-DEI and the reality, we've actually begun to feel the brunt of that before he even took office. So, you know, it really started with the lawsuit against the Fearless Fund. Right. And so, you know, while the Fearless Fund was at the front and center of that lawsuit, organizations like them, you know, including us, we also kind of felt the brunt of it or were affected by it because many of our partners and sponsors got afraid, right? That if they supported a brand that only supported, you know, Black women, that they too could be, you know, sued and that kind of thing. So we've had some pull out, we've had some decrease their giving, you know, to our entity. So but you know, we're gonna ride this thing out. You know, we're unapologetic about who we were created to serve.
Absolutely.
And the reality is we need it now more than ever because so many other entities are stepping back from you know, from supporting and you know, creating spaces for us to thrive genuinely, right? Like when it looked good and when it was trendy, but we genuinely care about the success of Black women and Black women entrepreneurs. So yeah.
That is amazing. And you're saying all of this with such a, almost as if you're not gleeful, but you're clear. You're like, okay, and next, this is what we're going to do. We're still going to ride hard for our sisters. Now, here's the question. When with the store open and say, for instance, I have a product that I want to sell through your store, your physical store, what are the steps that you go through at this point to actually get it? Is it an application process? Does it go through a quality check? Do you have to sell so many units to remain there? What exactly does that look like? Because of course,
Yeah.
I know for sure that it can't just gather dust on your, and what do you expect from your folks who are in your store? Do you expect them to help with some of the marketing and the promotion to let people know that the product is there? How does that work?
Yeah. So, similar to what you described, there is an
Yeah,
application process. It works for the being a part of the brand overall. So there's no separation between the e-commerce and retail. If
got
you're
it.
part of one, you're part of the other.
Mhm.
And so, yes, there's an application process that's run through our website. There's a review. If
Mhm,
selected,
mhm, mhm.
it's all automated. And so
Okay.
we review the products, we review the brand. We learn more about the brand story, about their
Mhm.
previous experience in retail, if they have any. They don't have to, but we just like to know
To know.
their sales, history, things like that.
Mhm.
And then they're onboarded. This is a consignment model, so it's a revenue split with the brands whose
Mhm.
products we sell, and they're on a 90-day agreement with monthly renewals. So
Love that.
we review, and if things are going well, we keep riding out. If not, then we say this might not be a good time, this
Right.
particular product, or we might try different products if they have others, things like
Yeah.
that, really on
Yeah.
a case by case basis.
Okay.
And there was another piece you had mentioned that I wanted to respond to. um it escaped me, but yeah, so that's
Okay.
generally
Yeah.
generally
Okay.
how it works. And we it's a huge undertaking. Like I said, at one point we've had up to 150 brands, especially when we
Wow.
had two locations.
Wow.
We have a little under 100 right now, but
Mhm.
um
Mhm.
I know the piece. It was, you asked about the marketing. So
Yes.
yes, so they're not just asked to, they're required to
Ah.
share in the marketing of this
Mhm.
initiative.
Mhm. Mhm.
We feel like being on our shelves should be treated no differently than if you were on the shelves at Walmart or Target
Exactly.
or any
Exactly.
other big
Yeah.
box store. If you were, you
Yeah.
would shout it from the mountaintop. You would do videos. You would ask people to go buy your stuff.
Mhm.
And so we expect the same level of commitment as it relates to helping with bringing traffic to this
Yeah.
space, because there's no competition. Our trademark slogan is, "When my sister wins, we all win."
Come
And
on.
so we eat, sleep, and breathe that. And so this
Mhm.
is just another revenue stream for the businesses who are a part of it. So
I love that. I love it. So when now I've been to your shop and it is abs first of all, it's beautiful. You're in a beautiful space. Wait a minute, you in Midtown. Hold up. So
thank you.
I parked my car and I walked in. Um, and you have this beautiful aura when you first walk in of the entire establishment. I've been in there several times, not just once. So I walk in and I'm looking at all of the products. I bought my granddaughter some of the children's books. I bought, there was like a finance packet that I bought for kids. I bought some lipstick, did some other things. And I had a budget because I would have probably acted a fool. You know what I
People
mean?
blow their budget when they come in here.
No, I can't go over 150 today. But
Right, right.
so all of the products um are just so beautiful, and the aura and the energy when you first walk in, it does scream, I'm not gonna lie to you, I'm Black and I'm proud.
Mhm.
That was what I got when I first, and I was beaming with pride. I was so excited. Girl, I got videos. Let's talk about that. I have video. I really do, of the inside of your store and the layout and all of that. But now you're coming to a point where you have made the decision. I saw the announcement about a week or so ago where you have indicated that you will be shuttering the doors of your Midtown location, and you will focus solely on the e-commerce portion of the business. What made you come to that decision? And number two, how are you feeling about that? And number three, what are you hearing for the next phase? Because we know you're not done
Yeah.
for the sistership.
So we did, we announced, we shared with our audience and the public that we are going to be closing our brick and mortar store.
Yeah.
And we've been very transparent
Mhm.
over the last year or so about the challenges that have come with running a space like this.
Yeah.
We have a huge store, like you said, it's beautiful. It's in
Oh.
It would be considered prime retail,
Mhm.
and but even regardless of where you are,
Yes.
retail is hard. Okay,
Yeah.
it will kick your butt, and it will take every dime you have.
Yeah.
It's very expensive. I don't care if you have a little, mom and pop shop in the hood, or if you have a huge prime retail space in Midtown.
Yeah. Yeah.
Retail is tough,
Mhm.
and so we have we've run our course in terms of just trying to maintain this
Yeah.
part of the brand,
Mhm.
and we had to come to terms with the fact that we don't need a store to do the
Yeah.
work we've been called to do,
Come on.
right? So while people love it and it's
Yeah.
beautiful, and um, I'll say this: people ain't love it enough for us to stay open.
I
Okay,
understand.
because
Yeah.
at the end of the day, your sales have to exceed your expenses. And
Yes.
if they do not, you're going to have a challenge.
Yeah.
So, we are going to continue doing the work we've been called to do, which is providing
Mhm.
a platform for Black
Mhm.
women entrepreneurs
Yeah.
to showcase their products and to widen their brand reach and all of that. But we're going to
Yeah.
continue to do it through e-commerce, and we've always had e-commerce.
Yes.
So
Yes.
it's not like it's something new for us.
Right.
We
Right.
ship all over the country. We
Right.
also even now have international brands whose products are sold on our website.
I
And we
love
hope to one
that.
day be able to ship internationally, which we're going to be looking
Yes.
into. But yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
so I'm excited. How do I
Yes.
feel? I feel honestly a bit of relief. Of course, a little
Mm.
sad because we're going to
Yeah.
miss, all of the incredible things that we were able to do in this space. But there are other spaces. You don't need, to have a brick and mortar to come together with people and do great things. We've been doing
Right.
that for years through our
Yeah.
events anyway.
Yeah.
So I'm excited about the future. I'm excited about all the new brands that we're going to be able to accommodate, right? Because also by having a store, you're limited to only being able to
Oh,
have
yes.
what's in the store on the website, right?
Mhm.
Because the store is
Mhm.
limited. Like we're busting at the seams back there. But now we will, with our new fulfillment center, be able to, accommodate more brands.
Bravo.
So
Bravo.
yeah, so we're excited.
Okay. And so what about the events? Are you going to be doing more of the tours and those stops along the way? What
Yes,
does that look like?
yeah. So we returned to our expos in 2021 at the end of the year,
Okay.
and have continued to do them
Yeah.
annually. Last year we piloted somewhat of a different model, which
Mhm.
was
Mhm.
what we called our marketplaces, and they were
Right.
themed around like certain holidays or
Mhm.
times of year. So we had like a Black History Month marketplace, Women's History Month market.
Mhm.
We did a
Mhm.
holiday market, and so we will be doing more of those.
Love it.
Not
Love
so
it.
much of the large scale trade shows,
Okay.
because those two are extremely costly.
Yeah.
And we find that our audience, has a better experience in the more intimate settings.
Mhm.
So, so we will continue to tour with those, but it'll be on marketplaces. So the Sister Shop on tour, basically,
I
as
love it.
opposed to our expo tours. Yeah.
I love this. I love your positivity and how you are presenting your brand because you're not saying that we're giving up. We're just pivoting. We're,
Right.
we're just going to move and we're going to keep on going. And I have to bring this up. I got to bring this up. Now, I saw where a group of beautiful Black folks came into your store on social media and it went viral.
Yes, it did.
Several news outlets actually picked it up, including Brownstone Worldwide. We picked it up because I said, wait a minute. I said, hold up. What were your thoughts when you saw them? Did you know that they were coming? Was this what was going through your mind?
I had no idea. I
Really?
was completely shocked, completely blown away.
Wow.
It was such a beautiful, selfless display of support and brotherhood and sisterhood.
I love it.
It will forever be etched in my mind and my memory of the fact that there are great people in the world, and that when we come together, we can do amazing things.
Yes.
So yeah, I had no idea. I had no idea. And then even beyond that, like you said, the virality of it, the media, that we received as a result of it. And we've been in the media many times, but
Yeah.
it was just something special about that story that so many people connected
Mhm.
with.
Mhm.
And I'm just grateful. I'm very grateful. It was a very helpful experience. It carried us for several months,
Mhm.
because we were about to shut down then,
Oh, wow.
but yeah, I had, like I said in the video, I was in church at the moment praying, asking God what we should do. I had already reached out to the property managers the week before to let them know we were going to close, and they were like,
Okay.
wait, let's see what we can do. And then this happened. So it definitely helped us,
Mhm.
over several months, and allowed more people to know about the brand, so
That's
that, and more
wonderful.
people from all over the world, right?
Yes.
So,
Yes.
which is important, especially when you're now going to be fully e-commerce, because you have a wider audience that knows about you, supports you, and that can
Absolutely.
shop with you. So we're grateful. It,
Absolutely.
it definitely was part of God's plan for us.
I love to hear that. That is so amazing. And you don't even know that right now I'm inspired because in business, change is the only constant. Nothing ever stays the same. It is those who continue to rise to the occasion of wanting to see the business continue to succeed. But you're under a stronger mission than just the business side and the generating of the revenue. And I heard you the first time when you said that, you heard the call and you answered it and you've been obedient to that. And so you'll definitely always have those challenges, as all businesses will, no matter what race we are. And of course, you'll see the end result. I always like to say, I always want to stick around to see what the end gonna be. And so, what would you like to see long term for the Sister Shop and your initiatives that come with it?
So, we had, maybe a little prematurely, but very early on, we were penned the Amazon of Black women-owned brands, and maybe it was prophetic, because that is what I see. That is what I want for us,
Come on.
to be the Amazon of Black women-owned brands. To have this huge, warehouse and production
Yeah.
space that houses thousands of Black women-owned brands, where people can go and shop everything created by Black women, and that is what I would love to see.
I love,
And so, yeah, so that's ultimately the vision that I have for us.
I love that. I love that. And so one last question, two actually. Um, will there always have to be this space for Black women? Do you think? Will
Yeah,
we always have to have this?
absolutely.
Okay.
I mean, I'm a realist, and I think that, um, especially now,
Yeah.
God have mercy, especially for the next 4 years.
Yeah.
But even beyond that, right?
Yeah.
Because our experiences are so uniquely ours,
Mhm.
right? That, we are the only demographic group that experiences discrimination in multiple ways, right? So, for our gender and
Yes.
for our color, right? And then if you take on another, title, then you might have even more discrimination. So our
Mhm.
experiences are uniquely ours, and
Yes.
our community, there is no community like ours. And so
No.
that's really what we are about, is not just the
Mhm.
stores, not just the events, but the community, right? The
Yes.
community of Black women entrepreneurs, where they know they can come and be supported and be
Mhm.
empowered and receive education and receive
Mhm.
funding,
Yes.
and not have to feel like it was done just so somebody could tick off a box, or
Mm.
or say that they met a quota, but
Yeah.
because they genuinely care and want to see their sister succeed.
Mhm.
So, even if we lived in this picture perfect world where everybody loved everybody and there was no racism or discrimination, we would
Mhm.
still need spaces like this, because
Yes.
um we just dope like that. Like
We just
we
don't like that.
and we,
Come on.
we need a space where we can find all the dope stuff in one space. I don't want to have to go
Yes.
this store and this store. I need it all in one space. So
I love it. I absolutely love it. And before we end, I always love to ask this question so that we can. I'm compiling these For each one of our entrepreneurs that comes and sits in this virtual chair, I always ask this question: what is the good, the bad, and the ugly of being an entrepreneur, being in business? And what words of encouragement could you give someone who is looking to walk in these stairs into entrepreneurship?
Yeah. You should ask that one first. The good, the bad, and the ugly.
Yeah.
Some of them are interchangeable. Okay.
Okay.
Right. For example, my first thought when you said the good, right, is like the flexibility, right?
Yes.
And the freedom,
Mm.
right? But that's also part of the bad and the ugly, because in order to have that flexibility and that freedom, you got to bust your tail. You got to do a lot of work. And as Superman said, what was it, Spider-Man, whichever one, I think it was Superman, with great freedom comes great responsibility.
Yes, it does.
Right. So the more freedom you have, the more responsibility you usually have.
Yeah.
So to not use that example, I think the good really is the fulfillment, right?
Mm-hmm.
In knowing that you are doing something that is fulfilling. Because I don't know anybody that goes into business for something they don't like.
Right.
Like if you do, something is wrong with you.
Right.
Like we sometimes have to take jobs or stay at jobs that we don't really love, or we're not really, passionate about, because, it's a job. We need the money. Right. But to start a business, it damn sure needs to be something that you are passionate about, and that is
absolutely.
So I think the fulfillment is really the good that is kind of constant. The bad is the pressure, right? Like there is a lot of pressure comes along with being an entrepreneur. And I'm talking about if you're running a real business. And because just because you go online and you register an LLC and you get an EIN does not mean you're running a real business. So if you are running a real business, a lot of pressure comes with that.
Yes.
If you are running a business that is growing and you find yourself having to make payroll and having to pay contractors and having monthly bills and expenses, that's a lot of pressure. It's a lot of pressure.
Yes, it is.
So I would say that's the bad, because there's this constant, sort of weight to be successful and to succeed, and by weight I mean WEIGHT, right? Like there's this weight to do well, right?
Yes.
Especially when you get to the point where you're employing people. That changes the game completely, because now you are responsible for the livelihood of others. So that's the bad. The ugly.
Come on now.
I'll say this, and I guess just for the fact of it being ugly, I think the ugly as a Black entrepreneur and a Black woman entrepreneur is the way that some of us treat one another. And I don't mean entrepreneur to entrepreneur, because I'm just talking about the general population, the audience. We are not very kind to Black businesses. We do not cut them any slack, or give them any benefit of the doubt. We have to be perfect at all times. If we make the slightest mistake, y'all are not y'all, but people are.
You said it
about us, writing reviews, doing videos, just trying to ruin us, right? But we'll go into any other establishment and get bad service or half a service, and keep going back. So I think that's the ugly part of it. I wish that we were more empathetic and understanding and supportive with our dollars of our Black owned businesses. We see it all the time. Like people come in our stores and they immediately want to know what's on sale or what discount they can get, or things like that. But we'll go into Louis Vuitton and Coach and wherever else and not ask any questions.
Just
pay the price. Exactly. So things like that are ugly, and I think we could do better.
We absolutely can. And I think that with brands like yours and opening the doors, because what you've done is you've opened the doors for Black women entrepreneurs, both creators and business owners who have that product that they want to sell to the marketplace. You've opened up a door for them to do something that they probably didn't think that they could do at all, or that anyone would even want their product to be a part of a retail establishment or an e-commerce opportunity. And so you've opened up eyeballs, you've given people hope, you've given people like me an opportunity to see these other businesses and their products that I wouldn't have ever seen. I wouldn't have seen them. Mm-hmm. Girl, I walked in your store and I saw this purse. And it was, hey, I walked in and your register was right in the front. And over to the side were t-shirts, bags. This bag was calling my name. I ended up not getting it because, like I said, I had a budget of $150. But that bag was so fabulous. But had I never walked into your store, I wouldn't have ever known that that individual was out there. So I'm excited to see what happens next for the Sistah Shop. And definitely let us know, let us share with our community and the people in our neighborhood exactly what you have going on so we can share where you're going to be, where the next expo is. We want to help in every way that we possibly can to keep you connected to our community as well. And I think that therein lies the beauty of being business owners, and actually just knowing that we're helping other sisters to get the access that they need, because this helps to provide access. Yes. So most definitely, ladies and gentlemen, we have with us today Mrs. Aisha Taylor Issa of the Sistah Shop. And also, y'all, let's talk about where you can find her. Number one, you can find her at thesistahshop.com. Now tell us when when the store officially closes. We didn't, and I should have talked about that. Let me put this.
Sure. So our last day open is in just a few days. February 22nd is our last day open for the brick and mortar, but our e-commerce site is still up and running, and will continue to be. So, head on over there and check us out. You can also be introduced to new brands and new products through our website. We ship every day of the week. Right now we ship just in the US, but we hope to be adding international shipping soon. The site features brands from other countries. So you can definitely check it out, and we'll be sure to get you what you need.
I love that. And so in the meantime, you guys go ahead and check everything out here at let's show this as well. The SIB Expo. Okay, if you want more information about any upcoming expos in your area, and even if they ain't, book a plane ticket and come and hang out and find out how you can become a part of that. I definitely want to thank you for coming to hang out with us today here in the Brownstone Worldwide Studios. I appreciate you for taking time out of your busy schedule to come and hang out with me. Technical difficulties and all, right? But I thank you for that. Are there any last or parting words? I sound like the pastor at the church.
Right. No, thank you again for the opportunity, for recognizing and shedding a light on what we're doing. And
absolutely,
God continue to bless you and the incredible work you're doing as well. And let's just move forward and support one another. And it remains to be seen, what we'll be able to accomplish. So thank
you. Go ahead. And Aisha, we're going to drop you back down. Stick around for about 2 minutes after this program is over. Everyone, thank you so much for joining us here at Brownstone Worldwide with Brownstone's Best Business Review. Guess what? This is going to be on the cover of our March issue of Brownstone Living magazine. So you're getting an opportunity to literally hang out with her all month long and find out more about these beautiful women and their amazing products from the Sistah Shop. Listen, everyone, 3 things that I always like to tell everybody before we end every single show. 1, love your life. It is the only one that you have. 2, live your life to the fullest and embrace everything that is your life, because you only get one you. And lastly, breathe through every single moment. We'll see you around.